We are back to talk about yet another incredible week of NFL football. Welcome in to season 3, episode 7. Dante, I always love how you do the count. Welcome back to WG, everybody. As always, we are your hosts, your main guys, the guys that make it all happen. Adam.
Dante?
And Luke.
I gotta say, guys, what a fantastic week we had in week 6. Look at those records. If you go back to the previous week of games and compare it to now, I just want to say it, Luke. I know you may touch on it a little more. Luke was perfect going into Monday Night Football, where he had the Jets and they unfortunately sold. But
Well, I would have been perfect if Aaron Rodgers was half the quarterback he used to be, but we don't live in that world anymore. And, I want to give credit where it's due. Dante would have been perfect if he saw the vision that Jim Harbaugh was going to outcoach Sean Payton.
Looking back at it, I don't know what I was thinking, honestly.
Oh,
I mean,
Chargers, they started off hot, lost to the Steelers, had a bye. It's okay. It's understandable to have forgotten about them a little bit, but I kind of thought back ahead and I saw the vision for that one.
Yeah,
looking back on it, I don't know what I was thinking picking Carolina as the upset of the week. That didn't really work out, but
it wasn't a bad game. You guys didn't get beat bad, did
sure.
you?
Uh, 38-20. I think it looked a lot better than it was, but toward the end it was pretty messy.
Atlanta got some garbage time touchdowns, though, I think.
They really did. So
Yep.
Okay.
it was, of course, the funny timing of the broadcaster saying Bryce Young could learn from a true professional at the same time Andy Dalton throws a near pick six, but it
That's
happened. Broadcaster jinx is a real thing. So
yes, sir.
let's get into it, boys. Let's start out, as always, my fantasy football enthusiasts. Listen up. Here are the top 10 scores of the week. As always, like I always say, if you guys are in a tight contest with your league members, you're trying to win your league, you want to win that money, if it is a money league you're in, listen to this because these 10 guys I'm about to mention may just win you your league. You may want to trade for those guys. So here we go. If I throw up a number 2, that means it's their second appearance on the top 10 this year. If I throw up a number 3, it means it's their third. We have 2 guys this week making their third appearance of the year. Number 10 with 24.7 points on Monday Night Football, wide receiver of the Jets. Not going to be the wide receiver one anymore. We'll get into that. Garrett Wilson. Number 9 with 25.1 points in the beatdown in Dallas, the QB of the Detroit Lions, Jared Goff. Number 8, our first number 3, because third appearance of the year, 25.2 points in the win against Washington for possibly the best free agent addition so far this offseason. I don't think it's close. Derrick Henry of the Baltimore Ravens. Number 7, making his first appearance of the year with 25.5 points in a win against my Panthers, unfortunately. Bijan Robinson, running back for the Falcons. Number 6, just missing out on the top 5, 25.62 points for Green Bay QB Jordan Love against the Arizona Cardinals. On to the top 5, the other guy making appearance, number 3 of the year, 25.9 points for Buccaneers quarterback Baker Mayfield. And as you can see in the picture here of the Buccaneers players, that is one of 3 Tampa Bay Buccaneers on this list. So they had themselves a week. Number 4, sorry, Luke, running back of the Texans against the Patriots, Joe Mixon had 27.2 points in his maybe best performance in a while. Good to see that guy doing well, I guess. Number 3 with 28.64 fantasy points in the win of what NFL goated YouTuber Wyatt's World calls it, the Tea and Crumpets game in London. Caleb Williams of the Bears had 28.64 fantasy points. And on to number 2 and number 1, both Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The running back for the Buccaneers, the number 1 running back apparently from that game with 34.2 points. Have you guys ever heard of this guy, Sean Tucker? It's my first introduction to Sean Tucker. Man, he had a game.
I'd say how.
Number 1, second appearance of the year for him on the top 10. And the first time with him being number 1, 35.5 fantasy points for wide receiver of the Buccaneers. Shout out Penn State, Chris Godwin, number 1 this week.
We are.
Penn State. What a win they had against USC. I still can't believe that.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
huge. Yeah, I was on the edge of my seat that whole game. Down 20-6 at half, and then coming back, Drew Aller completing two fourth and longs to get us to on that touchdown drive to tie the game. So I feel really good as a Penn State fan right now. And I don't know if we could beat Ohio State. I won't say that.
We'll see.
Yeah,
It should
well,
be a good game. It
I
should be.
felt
Ohio
really
State, yeah. Ohio State had a rough ending on Saturday, so y'all do have a chance. I will say that.
It was Oregon though. They're a great team.
True.
yeah, I
But
did not feel very good at the half, but it was a fun second half.
we are
This
number three, and Ohio State is four. I'll just say that.
this November, I'm not voting for Trump. I'm not voting for Kamala. I'm voting for Drew Aller and Tyler Warren, baby.
Tyler Warren, man. Hopefully, dude. If I want anybody in this next draft, it's Tyler Warren. He's so good.
You can do it all.
Well, let's move on. Quickly going to touch on this. Two big trades happening yesterday at the time of recording this. Two AFC East wide receiver trades. I'll give my thoughts real quick. Devontae Adams, really not that surprised. I mean, it was kind of something that was just going to happen. It was just a matter of time. I guess I'm a little surprised it happened this quickly, but I mean, Raiders getting off his entire salary, good for them. The Jets giving up a third, which could be a second, but I believe only can be a second if Adams is an all pro or the Jets make the AFC championship. So that's a third round pick. Anyway, for the Bills, that one was kind of surprising to me. Great pickup for them. They're only paying him the league minimum. Not sure why Cleveland's paying him so much of that salary, but only had to give up a third and sixth to get him. And they also got a sixth along with Amari Cooper. So what do you guys think?
I could go first, Luke.
Yeah.
Well, as a fan of a team who is looking to add wide receivers, this hurts. More specifically, the Devontae Adams one, because obviously there was really no shot the Browns were going to trade Amari Cooper within the division unless we gave him like a king's ransom. But I really wanted Devontae Adams. I thought he would have been a great fit on the Steelers, but you gotta like kind of assume the guy's going to go to the Jets, where Aaron Rodgers is, and where Devontae Adams ultimately had who Devontae Adams ultimately had the best years of his career with. Um, Not even like truly upset because like we can't offer that. I mean, but yeah, good move for the Jets. I don't know how much it'll impact them. Will it open up Garrett Wilson's bag? Maybe. But their offensive line still not very good. The defense still not playing to the best of their ability. Um, and Aaron Rodgers is still getting up there in age. And I think adding another older wide receiver, uh, it'll help for sure. If their offense doesn't improve at least a little bit, I would be very surprised. But I think, I don't know, if this was 2017 or 2018, we'd be like, oh my God. But love Devontae Adams, want nothing for the best for him. And I'm kind of nervous because we play him this week. And then Amari Cooper, happy to get him out of the division because he was one of the best receivers in the AFC North. Um, but yeah, Buffalo, that's a great pickup. Josh Allen actually has a wide receiver one now, which is huge for them. But we'll see how they perform. Two good players, and I'm excited to see them with their new team.
Yeah, I'm not excited to see either of them with their new teams at all, actually.
Understandably.
No, I know. I'll use an analogy that I've already used twice. I've told some people yesterday when it broke that I think the Devonte Adams trade is the Jets trying to put more and more band-aids on a really big wound. I don't think it's going to work. You nailed it on the head, Adam, when you said he has to either be an all-pro or on the AFC Championship roster for the third round pick and to become a second round pick. It's not going to. Um, it'll push them over the edge in some games. They'll probably squeak into the playoffs as a 7 seed, 10-7, 9-8, something like that. Um, just like you said, if this was 5 years ago, I would be terrified of this combination. But just when Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson were sort of striking some chemistry, just when Brees Hall finally had a good game, and I understand Aaron Mike Williams is currently Aaron Rodgers' least favorite person on earth. But the problems go deeper than just who's on your depth chart. If you have Aaron Rodgers in the press conference after the game blaming Mike Williams by name for the loss, for the interception at the end, when he said he was running the wrong route. He was supposed to be on a streak up the numbers, and he started outbreaking. But if you look at where that ball was thrown, it was going to be way behind him the entire time. And it was a hell of a play by whoever picked it off. I don't know who it was, but it was. I just mean there's an attitude problem in that locker room, and firing their coach wasn't going to fix it, and this isn't going to fix it. Um, as for Amari Cooper, I think I wouldn't say the opposite is true, but it is a great fit. And I'm probably more worried about that because if you watch some of the tape this year of Amari Cooper, he's not been great. He's only had, I read some of the stats. He has had, of all wide receiver ones in the league, was among the lowest. I think it was 30 catchable targets, period. Like, I know that doesn't sound like a small number, but that's only been like 60 or 70% of his targets. The other almost half have been just awful, awful throws from Deshaun Watson. But the point is, of those 30 targets that were catchable, he's dropped six of them, which is tied for the highest drop percentage in the league. So he hasn't had a killer year himself by any means, but I think that this should do more than enough to get him back on track. Let Josh Allen really start slinging it again. Because credit to Josh Allen, he has no turnovers this year, unless I'm missing a fumble. But he also, there's been a bit of a lid on that offense that I know he's probably getting a little bit uncomfortable with because he likes to throw the ball 60 yards. And with an arm like that, who could blame him? So I'm a little bit more worried for this partnership, if you will. And just to add one more thing, as I told some friends of mine last night, I'm going to read a text that I wrote for verbatim. You know, this isn't part of it, but I just love the fact that our division, you know, the AFC East, Devontae Adams, Amari Cooper, Tyreek Hill, Sauce Gardner, OBJ, Brees Hall, Jalen Ramsey, Von Miller, all these people that they bring in, all to stop Drake May. Not really, but the fact that we're in this division and the past 2 or 3 years, our response to that has been Devontae Parker and Juju Smith-Schuster. Either way, I was joking around with my friends last night, and I'll read this text. I said that our division wasn't done, and we struck back at around, I think this is around 4 or 5 o'clock, when we had an answer for this arms race and signed center Lasitis Smith to our 53-man roster off the Green Bay practice squad, who hasn't played since 2022. So that's the state of our team. That's the state of our O-line. That's the state of where we stand in this arms race of the AFC East. I suppose the Dolphins have a bit given up too, but I guess they're getting Tua back. Yeah, I don't love it. I don't love either of these teams in my division getting these players, but I would say I'm more scared about the Amari Cooper partnership, which is probably the less interesting one because it's a reunion, but that's my 2 cents.
I completely agree with that. I expect Cooper to be more of an asset and more impactful to the team uh, for the Bills than Devontae Adams will be for the Jets. But before we move on, I was talking to Adam earlier, and I was like, I have a prediction of on who the Steelers are going to get now that both of these guys are off the board. This is a really go in there and make it about you moment for me right now. But my prediction for the Steelers is actually a guy that Luke brought up earlier. I think the Steelers go and get Mike Williams. Um, now that Jets receiver room is even more, flooded and crowded than it already was. Um, but yeah, I think Mike Williams is a guy that could come in, be a good two. And yeah, that's my take.
Yeah, I can see it. We already saw Cordell Patterson recruiting him on Twitter
Yeah.
as he was.
Hmm.
If you can keep him on the field and keep him healthy, I think it would be a good pickup.
Yeah, I mean, you saw him and Keenan Allen were a pretty solid duo whenever they were with the Chargers. So I feel like him and GP would be pretty good.
Yeah, shouldn't be too hard to get him either.
Yeah.
But anyways, we are now on to week number 7 of the NFL season. We are already almost at the 50% mark. Crazy. To the Bears and to the Cowboys fans, enjoy your week off because those two teams are on bye this week. The Cowboys fans are probably really happy they're on bye. But anyways, let's get into week number 7, starting with Thursday Night Football. we have a little bit of a revenge game here. Sean Payton is returning to his old coaching grounds with the Broncos as they take on the Saints. This is looking at the schedule. I'm not going to lie, guys, really the only game I can't decide on. So someone else has to step up and go first here.
This
I'm
one,
just,
I could go. I mean,
yeah, either one of us.
I think this is a game the Saints win for sure. Um, I trust them way more in New Orleans. I'm not making the mistake again of picking the Broncos because they completely muffed my um, perfect week last week. So as though I do think the Saints are going to win as revenge, I will pick against the Broncos. So yeah, I think this will be Spencer Rattler's first career win, which would be huge. Um, I don't see Bo Nix doing much in this game. I could see the Broncos defense coming out and punching the Saints in the mouth real quick, but I think the safe pick here is the Saints.
Yep, I'm going the Saints as well, especially at home. Um, yeah, I don't have much reason to it. I just think they're a much higher ceiling football team.
True.
I will not lie, I forgot Spencer Rattler was starting, but you guys convinced me. I'm still going to go with the Saints here. I just, like Dante said, I can't pick the Broncos after what they did last week. I mean, I know they only lost by a touchdown, but let me just emphasize it was 23 to nothing going into the fourth quarter. Those were some garbage time points they scored to try and make that comeback. So I can't trust Bo Nix because I don't know what to expect. Given I'm going to pick the Saints here, watch we're all wrong, and Denver wins. And then next week we're back to like, oh, the Broncos aren't as bad as we think they are, and we pick them again. But right now, I just can't trust that. So as much as I don't like them, give me the Saints to win this game.
True.
All right, tea and crumpets time. Luke, I'll let you have the floor.
Yeah, I'm gonna have the pleasure of picking the Patriots. Um, we were looking at probably a 31 versus 32 battle when it comes to the talent of teams in the NFL. But there's a difference between these two teams, and it doesn't even have to do with 31 or 32. It's the fact that the Patriots offense scored more than 20 points for the first time in a year. They threw for 3 touchdowns for the first time in years. That our rookie Drake May had his first career 30 plus yard in the air touchdown in one half when Mac Jones only ever had one of those. Cam Newton only ever had one of those. Maybe it was 50 yards. It was because that's about how far it traveled in the air. There were good signs last week that I could get into further, but I don't really need to. It was just it wasn't perfect, especially one pick that wasn't his fault. The fumble loss, you never fully blame on a quarterback, but I won't say he's free of blame. It's just our offensive line. Although they did have the best day of the year so far, they're protecting somebody actually worth protecting. So we did see the fact that throwing Drake May out there was fine. And he's a grown man. And he can handle himself behind a bunch of guys who don't know how to block anybody with 2 legs. Um, and we saw the reaction post game, even though we lost. We kept the game close at times, and we had people like Demario Douglas, who caught his first career touchdown, Kayshon Boutte, who caught his first career touchdown, Hunter Henry found the end zone. Pop Douglas after the game saying, I would run through a brick wall for Drake May. There were hot mics in the huddles were saying that he is great because some of the play calls, Drake May has more confidence than people expected. And the other thing is he was our leading rusher, Drake May was. And so if you get Ramondre Stevenson back this week, hopefully my eyes will never have to witness another Antonio Gibson second and long up the gut to fight to get back to the line of scrimmage ever again. There was a lot that could have been better about that game, but it was actually honestly not that bad against the Texans. Whereas we have the Jaguars who completely continued to embarrass themselves against the Bears, made Caleb Williams look like one of the strongest men to ever grace grass in London when he made him look better than half of the soccer players over there at his sport. And I said Caleb Williams, right? And that was his sixth career game. And they have been just sitting over there overseas, probably not very happy with each other. They probably know that when they get back home, their coach is getting fired. It can't be any smiles in that locker room. So almost purely based off of morale, as it seems, and momentum, which both teams coming off of a bunch of losses, it doesn't seem like there would be any, but I'm picking the Patriots.
Cool. I'll go if that's all right, Dante.
Yeah, do your thing.
So for those who cannot see, Luke has a Star Wars poster on the wall back there. Also feature Moneyball poster, the greatest movie of all time. The one next to the Moneyball poster is Star Wars Episode 3, right, Luke? I better be getting that right. Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Well, I just looked it up. Star Wars Episode 4 is called A New Hope. Patriots have a new hope, and his name is Drake May.
Cook.
And I think Drake May is going to lead the Patriots to victory in London. And I think he's going to get his first win as an NFL starter. And call this my bold, I guess, prediction of the week. Doug Peterson is getting fired on Tuesday. Or on Monday, actually. Monday. Maybe even Sunday after the game. After the game, Doug Peterson will be getting fired. This is his last game as the coach of the Jaguars if they lose. And I think they will.
I think they will lose also. Clean sweep for the Pats. Drake May. In the small sample size, well, not small sample size, we saw a full game. In the plays we saw him make, he looked like a first round pick. And I'm so actually, am I stoked for the Pats? Because such a spoiled franchise. I'm joking, Luke. I'm just kidding. No, but of course they get another good quarterback because that's what the Patriots do. Um, yeah. I think the Jags are horrible. I think the Patriots are on the rise, and that's enough for me.
Sweet. All right, moving on to the 1 p.m. slate on Sunday. We've got a divisional battle I think everyone has been waiting for since the season started. Detroit and Minnesota, where Detroit is 4-1, Minnesota is 5-0. Does it get any better than this? I'll start because I know who I'm going to pick for this game. This is not my upset of the week, even though they are not the team favored, but I'm going the Lions. I get Minnesota's 5-0. Listen, I get they're 5-0. I get they're technically the best team in the NFC North record-wise, but they're not the best team in the NFC North. Detroit is. And not only do I think they're the best team in their division, I think they're the best team in the NFC right now. If I were to pick right now who's going to go to the Super Bowl from the NFC, my money's on Detroit. This team started out slow, but they're catching fire, and I don't think they're going to slow down anytime soon. I think this is the week Sam Darnold gets his first loss of the year.
Mind if I go, Luke?
Go for it.
Yeah, this is going to be a great game. However, I'm going to disagree, Adam. I think the Vikings are the best team in the NFC North. And honestly, if you were to ask me last week who I would have picked, I might have said the Lions. But, prayers up to Aiden Hutchinson. But with him being out, their
Yes.
defense is going to struggle. And not the Vikings are moving the ball almost as good as any team in the league. And plus, they have a top three defense in the league, led by Brian Flores. Um, in Minnesota, I think the Vikings go to 6-0.
Luke, break the tie.
Yeah, it's gonna be easy for me. I disagree, Dante. I really do. Um, it is going to have been 3 weeks since an impressive Vikings win, a bye and a very uninspiring win against the Jets. And you may disagree that Detroit is the best team in the division or in the conference, but they're playing like the best team in the NFL right now.
So,
Um, just look at what they did to Dallas. They can miss half of their defense right now, and if they put up that many points, it's going to be really hard to keep up with them. They're firing on all cylinders. Ben Johnson is in his groove. That offense is moving like no other offense has in this year, period. Um, and I think the Vikings are going to run into them at the wrong time. Records are records, but nothing like that lasts. Nobody would ever say the Vikings are going to go 5 or 17-0. And so if they're going to lose, this is going to be one of the games they lose. And I think that past that, I think it's going to be a bad loss for the Vikings.
wow, that's honestly crazy to me. But again, you said look at what Detroit did to the Cowboys. Are we forgetting what Minnesota did to Houston? I mean,
That's true.
annihilated them.
Maybe a little bit, but I'm going to let short-term memory take over. The Cowboys right now look like the best team in the NFL, and it'll have been three weeks since for me the Vikings did anything inspiring.
The
The
Cowboys
Cowboys
look
look
like
like the best team in the NFL.
Did I say that?
yeah, you said the Cowboys.
The Cowboys got ran through by the best team in town.
That's okay.
And they're going to do the same to Minnesota.
I think this game's gonna be close, but I don't
I
know.
will say one more thing, if that's all right, before we move on. Detroit fans, enjoy Ben Johnson while you can, because after this year, I think it might finally be the time he gets a head coaching job.
Yeah, I agree.
Enjoy him while you can, because I don't swear a lot on here, he's a damn good offensive coordinator.
Whoa, relax. I'm
Take it
joking.
easy, dude. Language.
Not
He is,
cool.
though. Am I wrong? Okay.
Wasn't before we move on, Ben Johnson, wasn't he a Panthers coach?
Not that I know of.
Or was he? Who am I thinking of? He was a Panther coach and he moved on.
Sean
Maybe
McDermott, maybe?
forgive me. Let's just move
Joe
on.
Brady?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah,
did
he's the OC of Buffalo now. You're good.
my fault, sorry.
It's okay. Speaking of Joe Brady, guys, I don't think we've done it all season. I think this is finally the time we could do a 1, 2, 3 and then announce.
Yes.
Ready? 1, 2, 3, Bills.
Bills, yeah.
Bills.
This is my lock of the week too, by the way.
The only thing I'm looking forward to is another week of Will Levis' generational run. Um, this past week he added on a Spider-Man celebration because the NFL is cracking down on finger guns.
That's
And on top of that, as if that wasn't enough, he got chucked out of bounds and full speed destroyed some ball boy's entire leg.
that was
And then
bad.
like made a first down signal and ran down the field while this kid was getting stretched off. So Will Levis is on like a historic run of being hilariously stupid.
Before we go on, is this anyone else's lock of the week just so I can keep track?
No, I have another one.
No, I'll save it for now.
Okay. I'll take it though. Just have to for this one. Okay. Miami and Indianapolis. This game's in Indy, I guess. Dolphins, I guess, still without Tua. Don't even know who their quarterback is. Tyler Huntley, I guess.
Anthony Richardson was a full go in practice, so I would expect him to start.
Yeah. I can go first, I guess. I'm taking the Colts, and this can kind of be a bold take. I don't care what quarterback is starting. It could be Richardson, it could be Flacco. Not changing my mind. I know Richardson hasn't been that great this year. He should have a good game against Miami. It shouldn't be that hard to beat the Dolphins. So
Yeah, I don't want to speak for Dante, but I think we all agree with you,
Yeah.
especially about the quarterback thing. This can be my lock of the week. I'm going Coles.
Okay.
nice, Luke.
All right, ready to move on?
Yeah.
So Colts for Dante.
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry, I'm just writing it down.
Yeah,
Mm.
do you think?
Okay.
Another game I probably would have had a different answer for 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. If you guys don't mind me going first again, my reasoning is very quick. The team on the left has lost 3 games in a row. The team on the right has won 3 games in a row. And the team on the right has looked significantly better than the team on the left in the last 3 weeks. As much as I hate them, give me the Falcons.
Have they really lost 3 in a row, Seattle?
Yep. They started 3-0.
I know. And one of those wins was very, very impressive against the Patriots. But yeah, I'm gonna go Falcons as well.
Yeah, clean sweep on Atlanta here for me.
Only one disagreement so far, but this next
Doing the
game
same again.
may lead to some disagreement, I think.
This one, sleep
This,
of the week.
this might be game of the week right here, if I'm being honest.
Outside of the Steelers, two of my favorite teams currently.
Now, I am a sucker for uniforms. I did some research this morning. Not the Texans, the Packers will be debuting their whatever they call their whiteout uniforms, the white uniform with the white helmet. Green Bay will be debuting those this week.
Something Tundra. Is that
Yeah,
it?
some snow tundra something. I don't know.
That's sick though.
I'll let one of you guys start. I feel like I've started way too much recently. So
Do you know who you're going with? Because I don't.
I don't
Do
know.
any of us?
I have I think I do, but I also feel like I should wait to see what someone says. But if you guys need me to go first, I'll go first.
I need someone else to go first.
I'll take the leap.
Is that a hint?
You want me to go first, Dante?
That was a bar. I'll give myself that. Do you know who you're going with, Adam?
I do if you need more time.
Yeah, I do. Go for it.
This is not my upset of the week either, but I'm going Green Bay. I think home field advantage is going to take over here. I love Houston. I love CJ Stroud, but they call me crazy. They haven't looked spectacular this year. There's really only one game that I can pick out, I think, that they have just blown out an opponent out of the water, and that was last week against New England, a team they should beat. I think Green Bay is going to cause some problems all day. I think Jordan Love's going to have another good game. So I'll take the Packers.
Hmm.
I'll go. That's
Yeah.
who I was thinking. And yeah, the Packers, I forget who they hold on, give me 1 second. They had a blowout win this past week. And
Arizona.
yeah. And that was in Arizona, right?
It was in Green Bay, I think.
It
I
was
can't remember.
either way. But yeah, I like how Green Bay's playing. Jordan Love played real well last week. Um, I believe Houston is still struggling with injuries at the receiver position. Nico Collins still out, I believe. Um, yeah, I'm going Green Bay here for not for sure, but I'm going with them.
Just because it is such a toss-up for me, I'm going to do the boring thing and fall in line and conform. And I don't want to fall behind getting this game wrong. And I think you're right. Um, Houston has played some multiple games a little too close to the chest. They really had some messy stretches against us. They started off with two straight touchdowns, but then it was like punt, punt, interception, punt, fumble, or something. And you can get away with that against the Patriots, but not against Green Bay. In Green Bay,
True. And also,
Really?
well, I
You
will
pick
add,
Green Bay, Luke?
yeah,
You are? Okay.
I will add, Green Bay is still my Super Bowl pick, so I can't jump off. I still have to pick them.
yeah.
I don't know if we redid it right now, I would pick them, but they were my
We
pick.
can redo it at Christmas or something.
Oh, we should totally.
All right, Dante, I just looked it up. The Packers' white uniforms are called Winter Warning.
Winter warning.
That's what they're called.
How intimidating.
Yep. And I was actually online looking something up. I hope my screen is not like taking over the Zoom.
No, dude, you're good.
Okay, good. But I was looking something up because for this game, I just want to throw out a stat. I don't think it's going to change anyone's pick, but Joe Burrow is 1-5 against the Browns in his career. I just
Well,
want to throw it out there.
well, he's about to be 2-5.
I was gonna say there's a one in there. There can be a two in there.
I think it's going to change this year too. So
This is
Bengals
my
for everybody.
this is my lock. Yeah, taking
Fair
it.
enough. I
I
thought that would be your lock actually.
Yeah,
I do not know if Nick Chubb is playing.
even if he is.
He's
I,
close,
I know, yeah, but I'm
close to playing.
like fantasy says he's out and is projected 7 points, so they can't make up their mind. I'm not sure either.
Well, yeah, I'm only projected 7 points. Well, I guess he won't be getting the workload he normally did.
But here's a quick stat, and we can bounce off this. With Amari Cooper gone, there's one person on the Browns with multiple touchdowns this year. He plays defense. I forget the name of the guy, but
Here something.
I don't remember.
He's a safety.
I haven't scored over 20 points in a game yet.
Let me look that up too.
Yeah.
And the Steelers dropped 30.
And bench their quarterback right after.
Oh, I think Rodney McLeod Jr.
Yeah, sure.
He's the guy who's their leader, and that's embarrassing. Nothing against him. I'm just putting that out there, but that's embarrassing.
He's playing great. The Browns just are not good. And
They stink.
whatever happens to the Steelers this year, the Browns are that. Let's just move on. I'm not gonna hate too hard, but
All right, another divisional battle here. What will Nick Sirianni say to his fans this week?
He
You don't
will
see
say,
that. That's just outrageous.
here's what he's gonna say. He'll say, how the hell did I lose to the New York Giants?
really,
Here's my upset of the week.
Wow.
And I don't even feel like I was not
Whoa.
expected to call it an upset.
I was not expecting
The
that.
Eagles stink. They're bad. They're a bad football
So
team.
did the Giants think too. Come on.
Brian Dable keeps them in these games. Nick Sirianni is more concerned with his own bald head and crafting some crafty response to his post-game presser than he is with making sure that he schemes Devonta Smith open.
Oh, and
This is a bad storm for them.
God forbid the reporters say anything to Sirianni because I brought my kids in the press conference with me. You
Yeah,
can't say anything critical now.
they need to wake up really bad, and it's going to come.
Now, I don't disagree. The Eagles are definitely not the Eagles that they're supposed to be, but I do think they can beat the Giants. So I will be taking Philly, but I guess I'm not as confident in that as you think.
I am. Dude, the
Fair
Giants are
enough.
bad. I mean, if I mean, I totally get picking.
Malik Neighbors probably coming back.
Is
He
he
could
coming?
play if he's not going to a Travis Scott concert this week, I think he'll play.
Oh, I didn't know he'd be back then. Hmm.
Well, I think he's like questionable, so I won't lock that in.
If right now, since he's like not like fully guaranteed to be in, I'll pick the Eagles. But if he was in, this would be definitely closer for me. But yeah, I'll go Philly.
All right. On to 4 o'clock. This is the game that when everyone looks at the 4 o'clock slate, they're going to say, oh, yeah, this game's on. Um, yeah, give me the Rams. I get they only have one win, but Vegas is just abysmal. Nothing is going right over there.
Yeah.
And now they're
Well,
without Devontae Adams for good. Not that he was playing, but
Who's the wide receiver one there now? And you can't say
Jacoby Myers if he plays.
who is it?
Jacoby Myers if he plays.
Bowers.
what were you going to say, Dante? You can't say what?
Can't say Brock Bowers. Because
As well be.
he's ridiculous. I'll just say that. He's
He
so
is, yeah.
he was
Okay,
he,
I guess yeah. I guess they have Brock Bowers going for them and Max Crosby, but man,
that's
that's about it.
Yeah, I will
Waddle.
go LA
Yeah.
as well, getting Cooper Cup back. You were
Is he
almost
back?
correct, Adam. The Raiders have only one thing and one thing only going for them, and it's the fact that Tom Brady got approved as minority owner. So, that guy doesn't like to lose football games. So, in the next 2 or 3 years, I'm sure we're going to see some changes.
Yeah, I'll go Rams. That one's fairly simple.
Yeah. Speaking of fairly simple games, um, I don't even know what to say anymore about the Panthers. Andy Dalton has lost his magic pretty much. I'm pretty sure he had 2 interceptions last week. I think at least one the week before. He is definitely not Mr. MVP Red Rifle anymore. He is just Red Rifle now. And it's getting to the point where I almost wish they just throw Bryce Young back out there because this season's pretty much a wash. You might as well see if he can salvage anything. That being said, I'm not going to go into a whole tangent, waste any time here. Although I did hear Jonathan Brooks I guess is likely making his debut this week. A rookie running back we took in the second round last year,
That's
which
hype.
I don't know what that means for Chuba Hubbard because I got to give Chuba Hubbard some props. He's been solid this year. If there are any bright spots we've had, it's been him, it's been Deontay Johnson, and it's been our offensive line. Specifically, Damian Lewis and Robert Hunt are two free agent additions. Um, but I'm not going to get into it any further than that. Washington should cruise to a victory here. This one will be fairly easy for them. And I believe it is, I want to say it's Sean Taylor jersey retirement day, or they're doing something with Sean Taylor. I
Oh no,
think.
it's not already retired. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know. I forget they're doing some. Oh no, it's not him. It's someone else. Yeah, you're right. My bad. Someone else's jersey. I forget his name. Something green, I think. I don't know.
maybe if I saw it, I'm not sure. Anyway.
I'll look that up because I've been looking stuff up this
Okay,
episode.
well,
You guys go ahead and lock in your.
Commanders are winning this game.
Yeah, I agree. Commies just look too good right now. I mean, played a very competitive game against Baltimore, but
Baltimore.
uh,
It is Daryl Green, number 28. His number 28 will be retired at halftime this week.
I'm not familiar with Daryl Green, but props.
Apologies to the Commanders. I couldn't remember the player, but
Yeah, I want all two Commander fans to watch the show.
if we even have any.
Yeah, honestly. Two would be surprising. Anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, clean sweep for this game,
Yes, sir.
unfortunately.
So,
And now we get to the game of the afternoon. All right. Super Bowl rematch. Chiefs and Niners. You guys know who you're going?
I do.
I do too, but I'll let you guys start.
Go ahead, Dante.
Chiefs, for sure, I think. Um, Chiefs own San Francisco. That's just how it is. Adam, I apologize. Actually, I don't. I hate the Niners, and I can't wait to see them lose. Um, Mahomes is good, obviously. That goes without saying. This whole Chiefs team's good. Um, San Francisco is still missing Christian McCaffrey, though he was stretching at practice today. Big news. Jordan Mason has been a beast for them. But some guys on that offense for the Niners have been a tad underwhelming. Like Kittle's been all right. Brandon Ayuk has not been living up to his contract. Um, yeah, I like the Chiefs here a lot.
Did you guys notice my stretches there? Do you like my Christian McCaffrey impression?
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah.
Luke, do you want to go or should I?
I will go Kansas City as well.
All right. Well, it seems like a fitting time to lock in my upset of the week. If you guys notice a theme here, I picked the Vikings to lose, and I also am picking the Chiefs to lose. After this week, call me bold, I don't think there will be any undefeated teams left.
Hey,
Some,
I don't like either of these teams, so
what'd you say?
I don't like either of these teams, so it's a
That's
win-win.
fair. Yeah, I mean, the Niners have looked a little sloppy this year, but so have the Chiefs. I don't think anybody's talking about it. Mahomes is he's the best quarterback in the NFL, sure, but he is not looking
Mhm.
like normal Mahomes.
It's true. Yeah.
I think San Fran may take advantage of that this week. They really got to figure out they got to have a game where they got to figure out what the heck is going on over there, and I think this may be the game that they turn some heads and they remind everyone, all right, we're for real.
I will
So
say, if you're watching, not listening, I'm gonna pick the Chiefs because of the 12th man, the refs.
true.
Yeah.
Forgot. I forgot they have them on their side. Whatever.
Anyway, before we lose any chance of getting an NFL sponsorship, let's move on.
Yeah, we're not Tom Brady. We don't have to follow the rules now.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Why don't we let Dante tell us what he thinks about Russell Wilson starting?
Oh yeah.
Well, before I get into that whole spiel, let's ride. And on
Nice shirt, Russell Wilson shirt.
Yes, sir. And let me just say, there's a whole misconception for those who don't watch the Mike Tomlin press conference every Tuesday at noon like I do. I sit there with my popcorn bucket full, kicking my feet and giggling that I get to hear my sweet king speak for yet another week. He said Russ will be in consideration to start. He didn't say Russ is starting. So, Tom Pelissero, you dropped the ball there. He said Russ is going to start.
Yeah. I was gonna say, not to cut you off, but I was a little confused because I saw what the NFL reporter said, but then I heard Russell be in consideration, but then I heard he's getting first team reps. So all the NFL reporters were like, "Oh, he's getting first team reps. All right, he's the starter, guys."
I'd honestly be surprised if they both didn't get first team reps this week. You
Yeah.
know, in my opinion, I want Fields to start. He's been good. Maybe not as great throwing the ball, um, but man, the guy's legs are a force to be reckoned with. That guy could move, and I don't know. I'm fearful that our offensive line obviously struggling with injuries. I'm fearful that if our offensive line has a bad play, Russ isn't getting out of the pocket. Russ can still move for his age, but he's no Justin Fields. And yeah, you see Justin Fields, two rushing touchdowns last week in a big win over the Raiders. Had 2 rushing touchdowns against the Colts. The guy has 5 rushing touchdowns on the year to 5 passing touchdowns. He's been real good and only 1 interception, 10 total touchdowns, 1 pick. I don't know how you take Justin Fields out of this game. And trust me, as a Steeler fan, I want to see us throw the ball downfield and get chunk plays. But we're winning games. However, if we do start Russ, I will support him no matter what. I love both of these quarterbacks, and I wish him nothing but the best. I'm not gonna, excuse my French, shit on either one of them. But yeah. Anyway, to predicting this game, all eyes are on the New York Jets. Just traded for Devontae Adams. But as I mentioned before, I don't know how much this is going to solve offensively for them. Could have won a game against um, the Bills last week, but I think we're thinking a little bit too high of the Jets right now, and we're thinking of that game as like, of course the score was close, but Jets got a real lucky, Hail Mary towards the end of the game that if take that off the board, it's a much more comfortable win for the Bills,
And the Bills missed 2 field goals
and the Bills missed 2 field goals, precisely.
and an extra point, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Bad performance overall.
Tyler Bass, he did not have a good game. Anyway, with all that being said, the Jets O line, like the Steelers O line, is not very good, and I think the Steelers pass rush is slightly better than the Jets. Call me crazy. Um, I think no matter who starts this game, the Steelers should get it done. So I'll go with Pittsburgh here.
I will go next if that's okay, Luke. Dante, I don't think anyone would call you crazy for that take about the pass rush because now I hate to say it with Aiden Hutchinson out, TJ Watt is probably your front runner for DPOY. He may even be an MVP candidate. He's had an incredible year. But yeah, I will go into a little more Devontae Adams talk here. The analogy I like to use last night when I was thinking about this was, Woody Johnson has a house and he sees in front of his house there's a really old fence outside, and that fence has a bunch of holes in it. So he says, okay, I need to fix up this fence. So he goes out and he buys some shiny new paint. You catching on here? Devontae Adams is the shiny new paint. So he paints the fence and he's like, all right, cool. The fence looks better. Everything is solved. But what you don't realize is there are still the holes in that fence. So Devontae Adams, sure, he's going to help this Jets offense out a lot. They'll look better, but there are still problems that have occurred this year that I think they're ignoring and they want you to ignore, but I'm not ignoring it. And I think the Steelers defense is going to take over here this may be the first time I ever do this, predict a score on WG. Very close, very competitive, but very comfortable. 30-17 Steelers win.
Wow, I'd be stoked if we could get to 5-2. That's all I want.
I don't
Luke,
think you can. I don't think you can.
What?
I'm going with the Jets again.
Get out of here.
wow.
I didn't watch the last Steelers game.
I
I
did.
watched the last Jets game. So everything I know should tell me to pick the Steelers. But I don't know. The Steelers still seem like an awfully low ceiling football team to me.
This is why I'm in first, Luke.
Yeah, actually, the Jets are wiring first. And I'm putting my faith back in them. We're gonna see what happens.
How could you do
I
this,
don't
man?
have a lot of good reason, but I don't think I'm I'm not as big of a Mike Tomlin guy as you are, I'll put it that way.
Hey, it's not even Mike Tomlin, dude. Our defense is just playing lights out. It's like,
I am not as big of a Steeler culture guy as you are. I
hey,
don't think that
that's fine. That's fine.
it results in winning games you should win. This is probably one of those games, but I don't think it's that black and white.
All right. I'll easily take this one from you, Luke. I'll gladly take it. Not easily. I don't know why I say it. I'll gladly take this one from you.
You know what? I actually even considered saying tie before I considered Steelers.
Wow. You're going that low. All right.
In which case, I would have.
Nap.
We're a bit in uncharted territory, but in which case, I would have demanded like 5 extra points. But if it wasn't a tie, I would have taken the loss either way. But I'm not doing that anyways.
That hurts, Luke. I remember that. All right.
All right, let's move on to Monday Night Football, guys. We're back with the Monday Night Football doubleheaders, which as a baseball fan are super hard to keep up with because I've got other things I want to watch and other things that I should be watching right now. Thanks, Phillies,
Go
for
Bucks.
making my Wednesday last week very unfortunate, but we'll get into that later. Go Guardians, but we'll get into it later. Um, yeah, Monday Night Football doubleheader starting off with, I think, the game everyone's going to be caring about here. Luke, I know you like the Cardinals a lot. No offense to them, but we got Ravens Bucks here, a battle of 2-4-2 teams here.
I'm excited for this one.
This one's going to be a good game. I'm excited for it too. Baker Mayfield facing a team he is pretty familiar with. Um, who wants to start?
I do.
Okay.
Upset of the week. Give me Tampa Bay.
Wow. All
Yeah,
right.
you can't like just what's the word I'm looking for? You can't just dismiss the performance the Bucks put up and the way they're playing offensively right now. Baker Mayfield's looking incredible, and honestly, he should be up for MVP consideration. He's playing great ball. Mike
That
Evans
I agree with.
and Chris Godwin's playing great ball. This whole team is just playing real well, and I think Baltimore still has some weaknesses, and the Bucks are going to exploit them. Weaknesses defensively. Um, they're very good offensively, though. They're finally getting Mark Andrews involved, and what more could be said about Derrick Henry and the year he's having? He's been unreal. Ashton Genty type numbers. If you know, you know. Yeah, Derrick Henry's looking real good. However, I like Tampa Bay in this game. And that's my upset.
Dante comparing a past Heisman to maybe a future Heisman. If you know, you know.
You should be.
Luke, you want to go or you want me to go?
I'll go because I'm taking the Ravens. And I like the Buccaneers pick, and I kind of hope you're right. But the Ravens, they just beat a really good football team in the Washington Commanders, and they didn't beat them on offense. They beat them on defense. And the Commanders' defense is among the bottom tier of the league, but their offense is not, and they just completely outpaced them. And I know what the Buccaneers did, and I didn't watch that game, but I don't think the Ravens are going to let them put up so many points out of the gate, and I don't think the Ravens, excuse me, are going to let up. Like they're going to keep their foot on the pedal much more efficiently than the Saints. And in Tampa Bay, give me the Baltimore Ravens.
All right.
This is the second time of the episode that, actually, third time we've had a disagreement,
Oh,
but you're good. It is the second time I'm siding with Luke.
all right, bro. I'm
I
cool.
think Baltimore, look, both of these teams are very good, but Baltimore has maybe looked like the team to beat in the AFC the past few weeks.
Bro, Tampa Bay just dropped 51. I don't know.
I know, but Tampa Bay was playing the Saints. You
And
know what I think about the Saints.
I know. That's fair.
That
I think
Tampa
this
Bay
is a
may win this
no-brainer,
game. Listen, don't get me wrong. If Tampa Bay wins this game, I won't be surprised, but they're not dropping 51 on the Ravens. That's just not going to happen. If they do, it's going to be a 51-48 final in overtime. That's what it's going to be. I think this game is going to be, if it's going to be a shootout, it's going to be close. If it's going to be a 21-14 final, it's going to be close. But I think Baltimore is going to be the team that comes out on top. If there's an atmosphere this reminds me of, it is like the Christmas game last year with the Ravens and 49ers. But I don't see Baker throwing 4 interceptions. But I do think the Ravens get the job done on the road, maybe fairly comfortably.
What?
Hey, we'll see. I'm making bold predictions here
Hey,
too.
no hate towards y'all. This is all jokes, but this
No,
will be a good game. But
yeah. And finally, our last game of the week, the Monday Night Football game, which ESPN thinks it's such a great idea to have start at 9 o'clock Eastern time.
I'm not watching this.
Well, at least started at 8:15. That's a little more reasonable, but um, Yeah, I mean, I know who I'm going with if you guys don't, but
I do, but you could go.
I do
okay.
too.
Um, I'll go with the Chargers. They've really impressed me last week. I forgot how good they were. Um, I mean, I know Gus Edwards is not on IR right now. They still have J.K. Dobbins, who's doing a great job carrying the ball. Justin Herbert is still looking fine. They got Jim Harbaugh on the sidelines, which I did see last week. He had to leave for a quick period of time, some medical reason. I hope he's all right. I know I wasn't a fan of Harbaugh during the Michigan days, but I still don't hate anybody. So I hope he's all right. But Cardinals to me just look a little too inconsistent. And now I believe they may not have Marvin Harrison Jr. for that game because I know he had left the last game. So that leads this to be fairly easy for me. And I'm thinking LA gets the dub here.
I could go if you don't know, Luke. I'm sure you do.
I do know, but go ahead.
I'm also going the Chargers here. And I didn't even know Marvin Harrison got hurt. So this further solidifies my thoughts. I picked against the Chargers last week. I'm not making that mistake again. Herbert looked really good against a good Bronco defense. I expect him to do similar things here. So yeah, I'll take the Chargers.
So will I. It's interesting for both these teams. The Cardinals, they have faced six of the premier offenses in the NFL through 6 weeks. Buffalo, the Rams, Detroit, Washington, San Francisco, Green Bay, and as a gauntlet. So on one hand, they're facing, unless you consider the Rams worse, but at the time, certainly not, the weakest offense across the field from them so far this year. Excuse me. But on the other hand, the Chargers, while they haven't faced any spectacular defenses so far, or offenses, have held their opponents to 10-3-20. That's the Steelers, 17, it's the Chiefs, and 16, which we said were fourth quarter points. Their defense is too good. They're too well coached. I like Jonathan Gannon a lot too, but I got to go with the Chargers.
Cool.
Yeah, okay. Stardom sit time. But before that, I don't think it was on air. I told Dante and Adam has known. I have a surprise segment. Um,
That you do.
it is based off of something that I forget if I said last episode or if I said out loud to nobody or if I said to somebody off air. But I'm going to leave you guys with not much information at all. I will confess Adam knows what this is. Dante, I'm not going to give you much. You'll see what this is, but I'm not going to give you much detail. So I went and did a little research, and I won't take super long with this, but I took the six very basic stats from three different teams, three different head coaches, all throughout the weeks 1 through 6 sample.
Can I interrupt, Luke?
Yeah.
I know who the three coaches are, but I'm not going to reveal the names.
Three different head coaches from three different teams from 3 different years. I took a weeks 1 through 6 sample. All right, I will reveal that this was each head coach's first year with their team, with a different team. And so the six stats I took, very basic ones, three defensive, three offensive, were points per game for your offense, yards per game for your offense, passing yards per game for your offense. And for defense, I just took points allowed per game, yards allowed per game, and how many sacks in total have you allowed. So a coach A who his team has scored 13.8 points per game on 257 yards a game, 134 of those being passing yards. They've allowed 24 points per game on 360 yards per game, and their quarterback has been sacked 23 times through 6 weeks. Coach B put up 19 points per game through 6 weeks with about 300 yards, about 200 of those being passing yards, but their defense allowed 31 points per game on 342 yards a game, and their quarterbacks got sacked 19 times through the first 6 weeks. And Coach C, his offense scored about 24 points per game through the first 6 weeks on about 340 yards. About 224 of those were passing yards. And his defense allowed 20.3 points per game, with 347 passing yards per game, which is a little more than they put up on offense, but their quarterback only got sacked 11 times. So, points per game. Actually, okay. Coach C is the best in every single category except yards per game allowed, in which he is second. So, I don't want to form opinions, but Coach C has the best basic stats for his team. Coach A is the worst in every single category other than points per game allowed, in which he is second.
So am
So,
I
Coach,
guessing?
what'd you say?
Am I guessing these? Like who's who?
No, you can throw out some guesses if you want, but I'm just gonna kind of say it because it's the point of this.
I was gonna say, I think I know the three names, and I don't want to sound bold here, Luke. I think I know who each one is.
Yeah, and
Go
I'm
ahead. I want to see if I'm right.
I'm
Wait,
about to wrap this up. And
can I
Coach
wait
B,
after you? Can I guess before you reveal? I'm just like,
yeah, of course, of course. And Coach B is very middle of the pack of these three guys. All right, throw out some guesses.
I think Coach A is Kevin Stefanski.
He's not one of the coaches.
No.
Keep in mind, this is these coaches' first years with their own team.
Oh, first year. Oh, so sorry.
Yeah, but they're all from different years, different teams.
Oh,
There is a point to this.
oh. I thought these were all current. No,
No, I'm sorry.
no,
I didn't want to make this too confusing, but there's a point to this.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Can I go for it?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Coach C, who I'll remind you is the best in all of these categories except for yards per game allowed, in which his team is his second best, is Urban Meyer in 2021 with the Jaguars.
Already wrong. I'm already 0 for 1.
Who are you thinking, Adam?
I'm
Because
not going to reveal my
he
guess.
knows who the three are. He just doesn't know how to match them.
Once
Oh,
he's
okay.
done, I'll reveal what my guess is.
Coach B, who is middle of the pack, except for he is worst for points per game allowed, and he is best for yards per game allowed. So his defense let up a crap ton of points, but they at least concealed the yards. That coach is Frank Reich last year with the Panthers.
Really? Huh.
So
Okay.
the coach through the first 6 weeks of his beginning year, the tenure with his new team, who is worst in offensive points per game, worst in offensive yards per game, worst in passing yards per game, second out of the three in points per game allowed, worst in yards per game allowed, and worst in sacks given up, is Gerard Mayo through 6 weeks.
Oh,
New England Patriots.
I was honestly going to guess Zach Taylor in his
No.
first because
No, that was the whole point of this. I think I brought it up last week. I was like, I do kind of wonder. I don't think Gerard Mayo's actually been very good at all. And I like nobody is talking about it because it's not like one of those guys you interviewed and you thought you felt good about it, so you let him bring in some of his own guys from somewhere else. No, they gave Gerard Mayo the keys to the kingdom. Like when he signed his last contract like 4 years ago, it was written in his contract he would succeed Bill Belichick. And so far, he has been considerably worse than Urban Meyer was through 6 weeks and worse than Frank Reich was through 6 weeks. Jacoby Brissett through 5 weeks was sacked 19 times.
Jeez.
And our quarterback's 134 passing yards per game.
how many
He's
times?
only
How many times was May sacked last week?
4.
Fuck.
Our offense has been putting up 13.8 points per game.
Oh my goodness.
Urban Meyer's offense put up 23.7 points per game. That's for the rookie Trevor Lawrence. And these were a little bit picky and choosy stats, but they were pretty basic stats.
Yeah,
And
I
I
mean,
would say that some of the things I didn't include, our rushing game has been good, except for last week. We have not been turning the ball over. We have generated a few turnovers, but not that much. So this is just a little exercise. I was curious with some of my own independent research because Urban Meyer lasted 13 games. Frank Reich lasted, I don't know how many games, 12,
11, I think.
11. Gerard Mayo does not have to worry about that, but it shouldn't be, we shouldn't be happy with how things are going.
So, Luke, before you do start him, sit him, I will reveal I was way off. I thought Coach A was Urban. I thought Coach B was Mayo, and I thought Coach C was Reich. I was way off.
Yeah. Yeah, I did not really expect Urban Meyer to come out of this looking like the best, but
Once I heard Coach C and I heard defense didn't allow that many points, I thought for sure Frank Reich because the Panthers defense wasn't really that bad last year. So,
well, Frank Reich through three. This is just through 6 weeks, just because this is the draw Mayo sample size. You guys allowed 31 points per game, so
seriously, I
yeah.
did not realize it was that much. See,
And
I'm learning something new every day.
we can move off of this, but one other really interesting thing I found was that the Jaguars won Week 6 against the Colts. Even though the Colts had like 200 more yards than them. The Colts had like 450 yards. The Jaguars had like 200, and they won like 37-10. I
That's crazy.
I don't remember how the heck
Wait,
that
was that
happened.
Urban's year they won?
Yeah, yeah. So I don't
And
remember how that happened.
that was the Frank Reich Colts
Yeah, must have
that was
been.
coaching here.
Jacksonville owns the Colts in Jacksonville.
Yeah, they just do. Like,
Yeah.
all right. Well, that was my little extra segment for the week.
Let's hear the start 'em sit 'em.
Yes.
Before Luke does his start and sit him, I'm gonna use the bathroom real quick. So
Okay.
shower.
Well, I'm going to just yap about what I said last week. Um, I actually kind of screwed up last week. I'm not counting two of these. Um, yeah. Wait, yeah, I'm not counting two of these. So I said start Geno Smith because I thought he'd look good in fantasy after the loss to the Giants. He only had like 12 points, so I'll take the L. I said sit Dak Prescott. I sure hope he listened to me. He only had 3 points. And I said pick up Daniel Jones off the waiver wire. He only had 12 points, but for backup QB off the waiver wire, I'll still give that a W. I said start DeAndre Swift against Jacksonville. I like the matchup. He had 22 points. I said sit Travis Etienne against Chicago. Hated the matchup. He had negative -0.1. So
Okay.
I really hope you listen to me. And then the first one that I will not count is I said pick up Raheem Mostert. I forgot they were on a bye. So, but I would probably still pick him up. And then the next one that I will not count is I said start Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm gonna forgive myself because he got hurt and had 0 points. I w- I started him personally multiple times and was frustrated about that. So if you started him because of my advice, not sure anybody listens to this that closely, then I apologize, but I'm not counting it. And I said sit George Pickens against the Raiders. He only had 8.3 points. Call that a W. And I said pick up Wan'Dale Robinson. He had 10 points. For a bench wide receiver off the waiver wire, I'll call that a W. I said start Sam Laporta. I had a feeling he'd finally find the end zone. He did. So he had about 12 points. It's a W. I said sit Evan Ingram. Of course, he had like 10 catches for 100 yards. So he had like 20 points. So I'll take that L. And I said waiver wire pickup Pat Fryermuth. He did only have 3.6 points. So I got to count that as an L, but I still think that he will be a good option in that offense. Especially if Russ starts, he's going to want a bigger target. This week, I got a whole new set of players for you. I am going to tell you to start Jordan Love versus Houston because win or lose, he is just like willing his way to giant fantasy scores. He is like 9 touchdowns and 6 picks for the last 2 weeks. It's kind of ridiculous, but he has been very reliable. And I wrote for sit Russell Wilson versus the New York Jets. I am going to change that to quote unquote the Pittsburgh Steelers QB versus New York Jets. So whoever starts. I don't love the option in fantasy. And waiver wire pickup Caleb Williams, although he is on bye this week, so it won't count again. Through the past 4 weeks, he is averaging 20.25. He's only rostered in half the leagues, so he's now emerging as a really good fantasy option, especially to start.
Can I say
Running
one thing?
backs. What'd you say?
Can I say one thing?
Yeah.
In one of my leagues last week, I picked up Caleb Williams. I did not start him, but I was very satisfied with how he did. So cannot emphasize that one enough, especially if you're in like an 8 or 12 man league and he's on your free agency, pick him up. Trust me.
Yeah, the past 2 weeks he had like 26 and 28, so he's emerging.
And he's my dynasty QB too. So
You're happier than I am. Mine is Richardson. So Running backs, I would start Tony Pollard versus Buffalo. I just like the matchup. I would also sit Najee Harris versus the Jets. Just because, I don't think he's going to replicate last week. He had a great week. Don't get me wrong.
I'm looking at Dante.
To me, it's just one of those things that kind of sticks out, and some people are going to go, "Well, I'm going to start him." I don't know if I go that far.
Guy's a Steeler hater today.
Kind of, yeah. I'm not going to lie.
Against the
Um,
Jets, too. What the hell?
Waiver wire pickup Bucky Irving. He only averages 10, but he should keep getting a consistent play in the Buccaneers offense, although he didn't because that person I can't even come the name I can't even call to mind had like 30 points as the Buccaneers
John
running back
Tucker.
this week. Yeah, so but I would still trust Bucky Irving. Wide receivers start AJ Brown versus the Giants. I know I said the Giants are going to win, but I really like the matchup. Um, the Giants are allowing a lot of fantasy points to the wide receiver who lines up kind of like AJ Brown does. I really like the matchup. I would sit Brandon Ayuk. I am just so sick of him. I am just so sick of Brandon Ayuk in fantasy. Against the Chiefs, I don't even need a reason. I just really am annoyed with him. And I would pick up again this week if you didn't listen to my advice in week 5. Pick up Jacoby Myers like right now, especially now that Devontae Adams got moved. He's only rostered in about 70% of leagues. That will be shooting through the roof. And tight end, I will run through real quick. The start is kind of a layup because there are like no good tight ends. Brock Bowers versus the Chargers. The sit, Mark Andrews, another person I want to yell at a lot. Just do not trust him. I don't care that he finally found the end zone. It's not going to change anything, I promise. And waiver wire pickup Hunter Henry. He found the end zone with Drake May, and he's been okay other than that. So we'll see how much Drake May likes him. That's what I got for this week.
Dante, bold prediction of the week.
This guy's throwing for 6 touchdowns.
6 touchdowns.
No, I'm
I
joking.
was gonna say, wow.
Bold prediction, Najee Harris has another 100-yard game and a touchdown. That's my bold prediction.
I hope y'all aren't hearing every single car that goes by outside.
No.
And I hope you're watching instead of listening so you see what's on the screen right now. Freak Russ says, thanks for watching.
I didn't see that part. I just saw thanks for watching.
Freak Russ.
Freak Russ.
Dude, I tried to find this picture. I looked up Freaky Russell Wilson. Anyway,
Unlimited freaking.
If you're looking for a Russell Wilson jersey, go buy him at Rally House. I know they sell them there.
so
I
yeah.
think they at least still have them. I haven't been there in a while. So,
Anyway,
all right. That's been another week of WG fun, and we'll see you next week as always. Adam,
Dante.
And Luke.
peace out. Catch you later.